Oh, let's go. All right, we're gonna change gears slightly right now. We have Rian Winter joining the show briefly. Sorry to just throw you on
Oh
immediately.
no.
Oh no, it's all good.
Ri-
I'm ready. Stay ready. Stay ready.
Ryan, you go live in 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we'll make it quick. We'll keep it brief, but
Yeah,
I'm
man.
pumped
I'm
you were
here.
able to join. I'm actually
Love
super
it.
excited for the two of you, Brad and Brian, to have a Pac-12 conversation because Brad is a tried and true Pac-12 guy.
This is Brad right here. What is it?
Yeah,
Goom?
Goom. Yeah. It's the alias, but yeah, you
It's
can call me
alias.
Brad, you
I
can call
like
me
that.
Goom, you can call me anything.
So everyone is again named Brian?
Brad.
Brad.
Yeah.
Good to hear you, Brad.
Good to meet you,
man.
Ryan.
Cheers.
Yeah. I grew up, obviously I'm an Indiana alum, so obviously the
Good.
Hoosiers is our number one, but basically my introduction to sports was home games at the Rose Bowl, hometown of Pasadena. Dad
you
was
grew up
a
in Pasadena.
UCLA alum, and
Cool.
yeah, I was raised on UCLA football and basketball, and that was really just my introduction to just sports in general.
I like that. Well, you'll appreciate this. I've stayed at the Westin in Pasadena. Beautiful, right there, right right by the little kind of a preserve area. I think it's like a historical area. And then the last time I was there, I stayed on some sort of thing. I got it through the airlines. I was at the Ramada, out on the boulevard. Rough, man. It was like two different areas of Pasadena.
Oh yeah,
Quit.
Night and day over there, man.
Night and day. Hey man, so yeah, yeah, West Coast, buddy. Let's do it.
Yeah, love it. My favorite. I was gonna bring up this Pac-12 memory. I remember watching a ranked Oregon team come into the Rose Bowl and losing 16-0. A play that stuck out was, I think it was Masoli. You probably will remember better than me. Masoli kind of running out of the back of the end zone, tries to throw it out of there. Keem Ayers kind of just picks it out of the air, lands in the end zone for a touchdown. Do you remember that?
Oh, it was UCLA was kind of a trap. There was a lot of games down there that got really wild, and Penn State fell into one this last weekend. So cheers to them.
Yeah, it's amazing that happened without the crowd these days. Ever since COVID, the crowd just has not been what it used to be.
The crowd never recovered.
Yeah, it's a really sad thing, at least for me, just growing up on that, because I just remember, 70, 80K basically every game, regardless of who. It could be Fresno State, and it's a packed house, and it's just crazy to.
Well, and I think
UCLA. We gotta talk West Coast.
That's just a trend, I think, across live sports. I think there's just been less and less. I mean, you see it across the board. They're across in major stadiums where there's still relevant football, they're still full. But a lot of people are choosing to watch it on the couch. Not me, man. I want to be at that game.
Damn right. Best stadium in sports.
The Rose Bowl is the Rose Bowl. I think the day of the actual Rose Bowl it is. But other than that, I don't know. I think I love the pageantry of the Rose Bowl. I love the history. I'm a history guy, but I think on January 1st, you're right. It's the best. But other than that, there's some. It's a little rough, and I just think that they just don't have a quality product there. So if you had top 10 team in there, maybe it'd be different. So let's talk about these Ducks, man.
I missed the
let's talk. Oh no, all right. I was gonna say let's talk about the Ducks. Ryan, are you gonna be in attendance this weekend?
Of course, I go to every game. I haven't missed a game at Autzen Stadium in my adult life. I mean, yeah. Like I said, I'm going to be there, dude.
That's incredible. For the Indiana fans who are going to be making the trip, or for the Indiana fans like Brad and myself, we're going to be watching from the couch. I know me and you were on College Football Express yesterday. That video came out today. Talked a little bit about the environment. Can you kind of explain what Indiana fans can expect from Autzen as a football environment?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, I think there's loud crowds everywhere. I think it's not like it's like any more loud than anything else. I think that's kind of overrated. I was listening to Rhett Lewis, his podcast there, and he's talking about he was on the team that won the last time, 20 years ago, and he was really impressed with the idea of how loud it was there, and it's a great little stadium, man. Comparatively, it's half the size. You never really know how small it is until you go to other places, right? And so I've grown up here, and so it's like, oh yeah, it's the biggest stadium in our state, and then you go to Pennsylvania, and it's literally twice the size. And you go to the Big House last year, we did that; it was twice the size, and not as loud though. I think that Penn State does a really good job with all their speakers and everything, but the crowd noise I think is louder at Autzen. I think people just get into it. They love their Ducks, and they have a really good team. They have a quality team out there. If they didn't have a good team, I don't think it'd be as loud. I mean, it could turn into Cal pretty quick out here, I think. But no, it's a fun environment. Eugene's a cool town.
The Golden Bears like that, you know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah. I just another Pac guy back in here, but yeah, no, it's a fun town. It's a good college town, and it gets really rowdy at Autzen. People love their Ducks, man.
Have you been able to take the mood of the fan base? What has been the mood coming off of this weekend, given the performance of Penn State? We talked a little bit about UCLA and the situation there, and everybody kind of knows the story at this point. Has the fan base kind of gotten a little less sure of the team, given that may not look as though it's as quality of a win, or are people kind of understanding you go into Penn State, you play Penn State, that isn't a tough environment to play in, and no matter what that Penn State team looks like, you have to win there?
Right. I think everybody loved the Penn State game, right? Every part of the fan base was thrilled with that win. And then I think there's kind of two different parts of the fan base a little bit. I think it's probably fractured for everybody. But we kind of have the old school and the new school. And even maybe the third wheel, which would be like the bandwagon group that just expects, national championship or bust every year.
Yeah.
But some of the old schoolers, we're just waiting for the wheel to drop, right? We're waiting for, we've had so many of these different things happen over the time. The Ducks have been super close. They had one of the best teams in the country in 2007. Dennis Dixon has the knee injury. We had the perfect season where we had the best running back we ever had. And then we go up against Cam Newton of all freaking people, who looked literally like a superhero playing football for college. Could be the greatest college football player ever with his numbers. It's just insane. And then you go up against Ohio State with the Heisman winner, and it's like you're playing against the third string guy from Ohio State, and they're still better. And they beat the hell out of you. So it's like you're so close. Then last year, holy moly! I mean, we're still kind of reeling from what that was, and so I think there's kind of a part of the fan base that's like, here we go. And so as soon as Penn State goes and loses in the Rose Bowl, I think that group is like, oh, great. This team's not as good. Now we're going to have Indiana come in here. Now we're, be down a touchdown. Now our hearts are beating out of our chest. Then there's the other group that's like, we're good. We're good. One of the best teams in the country. What are we talking about? Went out there, did the environment thing, had the Penn State thing. Penn State's pretty good. But then that last week they weren't, whatever. No big deal. And then the bandwagon's just like, they don't even care about Penn State anymore because that game's already over. They're just like into Indiana now, and then they're going to be all, so it's hard to please everybody. But I tend to be more the old school group thinking, okay, just please, just literally like praying at night, please let there be no injuries, or please let there be, just let this thing finish out one more time. I just need one time for it to work out for us, and this could be the year. I mean, I don't know if there's a dominant team. And I think that, for the most part, everybody knows Ohio State's one of the best teams in the conference every single year. But outside of that, it's got to be Oregon and Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
So I like our chances. And you guys went to the playoffs last year. There should be no discrimination. You guys are already members.
I would completely agree with that. Brad, do you have anything to add? Because I was going to ask a question.
I just love that 2007 call out, Dennis Dixon and Jonathan Stewart, because I was watching, because I feel like everyone started hopping on the Ducks. Like you talk about the bandwagon fans. I feel like that really started happening with Chip Kelly. As a UCLA, as a kid growing up from afar, I always thought Oregon was super cool with the uniform. Before the uniforms got crazy, they still had very cool uniforms. I had the Jonathan Stewart jersey 2-8 as a kid, and always like had this sort of respect for Oregon. And Dennis Dixon was one of my favorite players to watch as well. Those teams were awesome. The fake, what do you call it?
Statue of Liberty.
The fake Statue of Liberty at Michigan was electric. Was that a home game actually?
That was at Michigan.
That was at Michigan. That was in the Big House.
After the App State game. So talk about like that's what I was kind of to be honest, that was kind of what I was comparing the Penn State thing to. I was like, this is like one of the most shocking losses I've seen since like that one. There's been some pretty bad losses I've seen over time, but I don't think any as bad as that. Yeah. I mean, the way UCLA was playing, I think UCLA is a better team than what they had put on tape. But man, the way that they were playing into that game, the numbers they put on film were horrible. And Penn State just walked into the trap. It was crazy. But let's talk about Indiana, dude. What do you think about Indiana this week, man?
I'm pumped about Indiana. I actually I had another Oregon question for you. One of the
Yeah.
things Kurt Cignetti pointed out that could be a problem for Indiana in this game is Oregon's size and depth inside. What can you tell us about those guys specifically, other than the 330 pounds and athletic?
Yeah, they are big. One of the things that they are known for is their size, for sure. But yeah, no, I think Bear Alexander is the guy to really watch. Number one, I think Bear is he's actually probably one of the smaller guys on that line, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, no, I think he's the guy who's really matured. He's played a lot of football from a lot of different teams in a lot of different places. He's kind of been a journeyman. He's had some ups and downs, and now he found himself here. And he's playing really his best football. That Penn State game was probably his best game. The other guys on the line are really interesting. Amari Washington's probably the best guy out there. He's just very well-rounded. He's very big, but he's light on his feet. He's just a real people mover. He takes double teams very well, but stays agile to be able to tackle. Their run defense is pretty stout. They do a pretty good job. And they have depth. This is a team that Dan Lanning has had great recruiting classes over the years. And with those recruiting classes have also come some young guys, and he hasn't lost a lot of his players, right? In the days of the transfer portal, they've been pretty good with their retention, especially with the guys who they expect to play a good number of minutes. And so some of these young guys have really stepped up, and we know it's hard to play defensive line, offensive line as a true freshman. I mean, that's asking a lot of some of these guys, just body type wise. And so, you let them get in their meal plan, you let them get in the weights, and then all of a sudden, you've got a totally different guy on your hands. And then what you need to do is just kind of plug and play maybe some of the other places through the transfer portal, because I've always felt like the most valuable guy in the transfer portal has got to be one of those defensive tackles. They just don't grow on trees, and it's hard to find guys like that. And you get a guy who's mature, who can jump in there, and they know that, a variety of different techniques in there, and they can be really, really helpful for a team. They can really help a team jump from one place to another place. And I feel like that was a big thing for us last year. I mean, last year, the Ducks were really stout up front. I mean, everybody went to the NFL, and that was a pretty big deal. That whole starting line went to the NFL. And then you had two young guys on the ends. The two young guys on the ends are really good. That's Mateo Youngule and Tatum Teote. And
you've got them circled.
Dude, they make some noise there, because they do a really good job of containing and collapsing at the same time, which is, again, pretty difficult. It's like being China and being communist and a free market at the same time. I mean, these guys come off the edge, and they really bring something. They're kind of old school players, though. They don't have a lot of the super, Javon Curse era forward bend, really athletic, get to the corner, force the tackle to be really up the field. They kind of do it in a variety of ways. And then they got a variety of different moves. They're both Samoan guys. They've both grown up with guys who are bigger than them, stronger than them their whole life, teaching them these moves. And I really think that they've got kind of a leg up on the competition because of that. They came in and played very early in their career and made a difference very early. I mean, Mateo last year was an absolute game wrecker. He led the league in sacks last year as a sophomore. So, I mean, these guys are big, and they put on some good weight, and sometimes these guys actually come in big and they need to lose weight. So, I mean, it's getting kind of wild now, the days of these freshmen getting better and better. But offensively, Oregon's best players are freshmen. Outside of Dante Moore, the DeCorian Moore, the number one wideout, I mean, is absolutely incredible. And then the little Thunder and Lightning that they have right now as the freshman tailbacks, those guys are actually like third and fourth on the depth chart, to be brutally honest, but they play like number 1 and 2. And that's Yair Hill and Jordan Davidson. And then both those guys play so well together. Beautiful Thunder and Lightning. You got quickness and speed with Yair Hill, and then you've got that big power back with Jordan Davidson, who short yardage guy, get it in a variety of different places, has scored a ton of touchdowns already this year. So they're just really solid. And I'm just really impressed with how the young guys have played and melded with a bunch of these other guys who are these veterans who've come through. And then, of course, you get the transfer guys, right? You get guys on the offensive line, both tackles are transfers. One of your guards is a transfer who come in eager, ready to play, especially your right tackle, Alex Harkey. That guy's ready to play. He wants to get to the next level. He's been out about it. He's been vocal about this is his goal. He's got 1 year to do whatever he can do to put on tape, and he's put some good stuff on tape. That Penn State game, he looked great. So this is a good Oregon team that is expected to be good. This is the kind of the expectation at Oregon now is that you have, national champion. I don't think it's national championship or bust, but it's definitely, I would say at this point,
better be able to compete for it.
Yeah, buddy. I think last year you were in the national championship running, right? And then immediately you were like swatted back by Ohio State. Like, no, get to the back of the line. So immediately now we're like, okay, we need to get past that. And maybe we either need to avoid playing Ohio State in the first round, one, or two, be able to overcome that hurdle and actually beat them. And that might be the case. I think if Oregon beats Indiana this weekend, and if Ohio State continues to roll, we do what they think they're going to do, it could be Oregon against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, which, again, might work out very well for you guys because I don't see anybody testing you guys on your schedule really for the rest of the way out, which you guys could sit there with one loss. And if your one loss is to Oregon, who's going to argue with you being in the thing again? You could have a beautiful seat at the table. And I think the either way with Oregon losing this game. So I know that there's a lot of pressure to win this game, but I think both these teams are really set up well for whatever happens in this game, still being very, very positive about the future. Instead of like when the guy asked Drew Aller, do you think you have a chance still at the playoffs? He's like, what do you think? It's like, dude, no, you're gone, bro. You're not even top 25, bro.
Right. That's funny. All right. I know you're on a time pinch. I do have one more question for you before we let you get out of here.
I'm sorry to just be chatting here. I'm sorry, but
no, you're good, dude. Hey, we would talk the whole time.
If you guys want to come on my channel, dude, at all this week, man, please do, man. Let's
we'll definitely figure something out for sure. I do like the box score watch as well as kind of look into these teams. One of the things that jumped out to me as significant was the amount of tackles for loss Indiana has compared to Oregon. You look at the numbers, I think it's like 49-22 in tackles for loss. It's 16-9 in sacks. I know it's a Dan Lanning defense and that team has talent. What is your takeaway from hearing that? Is that a worry for Oregon that they haven't been able to get these lesser teams down in the backfield? Or is it just a matter of those athletes are going to show up when it matters?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I haven't heard that stat before. It kind of makes me think that they're playing a little conservative and playing more team to the ball and taking less chances and being less risky. Like I was saying about the contain thing for those two ends, I think they do a really good job of contain. They might not get as many sacks, but they do a really good job of hemming everything in and not getting kind of burnt on that level, at least getting burnt inside, right? So, that's a great point. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. I really think this is an athletic defense, and they just kind of depend on their athleticism a little bit, right? They know they can get there. Like, for example, one of the linebackers, Devin Jackson, might be one of the fastest guys on the whole team. I mean, the guy's an absolute burner. So it's like, do you need to really depend on your technique when you're that fast? I was a guy who was slow, right? So it's like, when I get into a thing, I tried to be with everybody else as well, but I had to be on my, ones and twos mentally because I couldn't miss a step, right? I had to be, one of those kind of guys. Some of these guys can get away with kind of just floating around and then just hitting the hole whenever they need to because they got that explosive speed. So I don't know. That's an interesting point. I don't know if they really attack as much as people think they do. They do like to bring pressure. They do like to bring blitzes. They do like to blitz from a variety of places. Dan Lanning's classic thing is he likes to rush with four, but he likes to bring that four in a variety of different ways, right? So it could be, any different combination of four you could imagine, which means sometimes they'll even drop the defensive end into coverage, right? And so I don't know. It's an interesting point. That's a good point. No, I really respect Indiana's defense. I think they're absolutely quick and they move around and they just throw themselves around. They're really versatile, and I think their offense is really good. I think they have some really, really good players on offense. They're going to make a game out of this. So I'm stoked, man. I'm going to be thrilled.
We're pumped. We're very excited for the platform, for the opportunity, and for like the opportunity to play an opponent like Oregon on like primetime CBS, the pomp and circumstance. Like I was getting chills seeing the all the ads and commercials during the Eagles Broncos game. So it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, so I got to bounce, but both you guys, open invite, jump in my channel anytime you want. I got the live stream now for 2 hours. If you're done with this, you want to jump in. Otherwise than that, come see me later this week, man. Let's do this thing.
Sounds like a plan.
Have fun, y'all. Appreciate you, man.
See you
Appreciate you, Ryan.
All right, enjoy.
For Indiana fans looking for Oregon content, Ryan is phenomenal. Awesome dude. He does a lot of good stuff. So you'll definitely see at least me appearing on his channel later in the week. And again, you can check out both of our appearances on College Football Express on their channel.